guys, welcome to Creatively Homemade. My name is Jennifer. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator and I love to share creative paper crafting projects with you. So this week it's all about Thanksgiving. I think here in the United States we tend to skip straight from Halloween and go right into Christmas decorating, and it kind of makes me sad because Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays. I love the food, I love the time with family and friends, and it's just such a great day, and it's so sad that it kind of gets skipped over during the holiday season. So today I want to show you how to make these cute little Thanksgiving place setting cards. You can set them at each place setting on your Thanksgiving table. They'll stand up on their own, and you can write the person's name up on the top if you want in a fancy font and using a gel pen or something like that, or you can just leave them as they are. This little place setting card uses a fun baby wipe stamping technique, so I'm going to be showing you how to do that. So let's get started and I'll show you how easy these are to make. So let's talk a little bit about the supplies you're going to need to make these place setting cards. They use two different stamp sets. The Painted Harvest stamp set, we're going to be using the sentiment from that one. We're also going to be using the Colorful Seasons stamp set. We're going to be using these two maple leaves. You're going to need one die set. This is the Seasonal Layers die set that coordinates with that Colorful Seasons stamp set. We're going to be using that maple leaf. If you don't have this and you don't want to get that, you can always just fussy cut out those maple leaves if you like, but this die really makes that much easier. You're going to need two colors of ink pads, a soft suede and crumb cake. For the baby wipe technique, we're going to put ink directly on the baby wipe and use that as sort of our ink pad. So you're going to be needing pumpkin pie, crushed curry, and old olive ink refills. You're going to need some copper trim, and then of course you need some paper. So you need Very Vanilla cardstock, a cardstock for your background. So I'm using pumpkin pie here, but you can use old olive or crushed curry. And you're going to need some wood background paper. This is Wood Textures, and it comes in a 6x6 pack. Now if you need any of these supplies, I have the links down in the description box below, and that goes straight to my online Stampin' Up store so you can purchase them directly. So the first thing we need to do is cut our paper. So I've got my base here, and that is 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. Now you want to put the long edge at the top of your scoring board and score that at 2 3/4 inches. And then just fold that in half, and that's going to be your base. Then you're going to need a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock that is cut to 4 inches by 2.5 inches. You're going to need a strip of that Wood Textures paper that is cut to 4 inches by 3/4 inches. And then you need a scrap of Very Vanilla to do your stamping. Now, if you missed any of those measurements, I will have a corresponding blog post with all the step-by-step instructions, so you can click on that and go on over to the blog post with all that information. Okay, the first thing we want to do is take that Very Vanilla layer and the Wood Textures layer, and we want to stick that Wood Textures strip down at the very bottom. Normally I assemble everything at the very end, but we're going to use that Wood Textures strip to line up our stamping, so go ahead and do that first. Okay, let's do our stamping. I've got that sentiment stamp that says I am thankful for you, and I've pulled out my soft suede ink. I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm going to stamp that right above that strip of wood textured paper. Just like that. And then the other bit of stamping we're going to do with an ink pad is pull out the crumb cake and that detailed maple leaf die. Ink that up and stamp that on scrap paper. Okay, now we're ready to do that baby wipe technique. So I'm pulling out one of those baby wipes. Now like I said, get a cheap pack. If you get more expensive baby wipes, sometimes they are imprinted with like the company logo. I know Huggies baby wipes have like the Huggies name imprinted in the baby wipe, and then that's going to transfer to your stamping, so you really don't want that. So go ahead and pull out your baby wipe and fold it in quarters. Just like that. This is going to act as our ink pad, and you want to lay that down on a surface that won't ruin your table. You want something to protect your table. I've just got mine laying on my Stampin' Scrub. You could put a piece of cardboard down or something like that. The ink will leak through, so you don't want to get that on your table. So then pull out your ink refills, and you just want to put about 4 or 5 drops. And you want an area that is big enough that your stamp, you will cover your entire stamp. So this is the maple leaf stamp we're going to be using. So it's fairly big. You just want to make sure that you get enough ink to cover it all. So I put a few drops of the crushed curry, and now I'm going to do the pumpkin pie. Okay, and then lastly I'm going to do the old olive. I think those 3 colors really work well together for leaves when you want to depict changing colors of the leaves. So I like those together. Okay. Okay, so after the ink has soaked in a little bit to the baby wipe, you want to use that as your ink pad and just kind of press that around. You want to stamp it on there a couple of times so that the colors blend together. And then you want to stamp that directly over your detailed image. And if you stand up above it while you're doing the stamping, you'll be able to kind of line that up a little bit better. Just like that. Okay, so I pulled out my die cut machine, and we're going to cut out the maple leaf. The Seasonal Layers die set has a really cool maple leaf that coordinates with that stamp set. So you just need to line the die up. I'm using the magnetic platform so that the die stays put and doesn't shift around. That lets you line things up really precisely when you're running it through. And then just put the top plate on and run that through your die cut machine. And there's how that finished die cut looks. Okay, so now we've got all our pieces cut and we're ready to start assembling. I pulled out some Stampin' Dimensionals foam adhesive. I pulled out some mini glue dots. That's what I'm going to use to stick everything down. And I have pulled out this copper trim. It's a 1/4 inch copper trim. It's really kind of cool. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's kind of shimmery. Just adds a really cool touch to your fall projects. So we're going to start with sticking some of that copper trim on your card here. You could run it around and tie it into a bow, but to save the trim, I'm just going to attach it to the back so you're not wasting any extra. So I'm just going to put a mini glue dot on the back here on both sides up near the top. Okay. This is some mini glue dots that came with a paper pumpkin kit, but we actually sell mini glue dots on a roll, so that works too. You just need to, the ones that come on the sheets in the paper pumpkin kits, you just need to take the backings off of. You don't have to deal with that if you buy the roll of them. Okay, so then just stick the end of that ribbon there on the first blue dot. Run that trim around the front and stick it onto the other one. Now see, if you would want to tie that ribbon around your card, you would use a lot more ribbon because it would be going all the way around. So I like to conserve ribbon wherever I can. And plus, I'm really bad at tying bows for some reason when I am tying them onto a card layer directly. So this way I'm kind of faking it. I've got the ribbon strip there, and then I'm just going to take a little bow and stick it on there. So I went ahead and made that off camera because I am so bad about getting these little bows right. So I didn't figure you'd need to watch that. So I'm going to take another little glue dot and stick that maybe about an inch in. Then I'm going to remove the backing, and that's where I'm going to stick that little bow. Just like that. So now we're ready to stick this layer down to our place setting. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals for that. Just pop one in each of the corners. And you can put one in the middle too if you want to make sure it really sticks down. And then use something to take that adhesive backing off. The end of your scissors or paper piercing tool works really well for getting those backings off quickly. Oops. Okay, and then you just want to center that layer onto your base. And there'll be leaving an even layer all the way around. Now we are going to stick that little leaf down, also using Stampin' Dimensionals. I am just going to use up the ends here. There's little partial pieces there on the end, and I just like to cut them and use them up so I don't waste anything. They're great for using in smaller areas like these leaves. Okay. And just remove those backings. Okay, and then you're gonna, whoops, trying to stick it down to my table. Then you're gonna take that little leaf stem and pop that underneath the ribbon. And kind of put it at an angle, and that's all there is to it. Super cute. So like I mentioned, you can use whatever color for the base that you'd like. Here's one I did in crushed curry. There's the pumpkin pie one, and there's one with old olive. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and it has inspired you to do some Thanksgiving crafting. If you missed any of those steps, be sure to check out the description box below this video, and you will see that I have a link to my blog post that has step-by-step directions, including all those measurements. So if you're interested in any of the supplies that I featured in today's video, I have links down in the description box below that go directly to my online Stampin' Up! Store where you can purchase those. If you're in the United States and don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would really appreciate your business. Now each month I like to offer my customers a free gift with purchase. This month I'm giving away the PETAL Burst embossing folder completely free with a $50 purchase. US only, and the offer ends October 31st. You do need to use the host code if you want to receive the free gift. All the details are down in the description box below. And if you're watching this after October 2018, I will always have a free gift offer each month. So head over to creativelyhomemade.com and check out the sidebar and see what the current month's gift is. So I hope you have enjoyed this Thanksgiving place card tutorial and it has inspired you to do some Thanksgiving crafting this year. If you guys would like to see more tutorials like this one, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to receive alerts every time I post something new, hit that little bell that's right next to the subscribe button as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.